Hey, what is going on, YouTube friends and family? It's been a while since I've done a video. Wow, how long has it been? It's probably been a month since I've done one of these instructional videos. Um, Not so much instructional, but this is kind of why I decided to do this video was because a lot of people were asking me, how do I do this? How do I do this? And the subject of today's video is hunting. How do we go hunting? How do you, as maybe a new hunter, go from point A to point B being the end game, having a hunting license and having a land to hunt on, and maybe I'll even include as a bonus feature of my American viewers, if you'd like to come up to Canada, we have some of the best probably hunting land that you can get access to. And how can you do that? And actually it's a lot easier, so it'll be a lot less time spent. So you want to hunt here in Canada? Well, there's basically two types of game that you could be hunting, two categories. We'll call it big game, large game, and small game. And they both basically require the same permits, although different tools. So for most small game is done, you can do it with a 22 small caliber stuff and shotguns. 410 all the way up to 12 gauge if you wanted to, and that would include your migratory game birds and geese and ducks and stuff like that. Now there's a little bit of a difference there because it comes under a federal regulation. So most hunting is governed by provincial regulations. So I will caveat this. I'll use my knowledge from, I've hunted in New Brunswick, I've hunted in Ontario, and now I hunt in Quebec. So I will allude to that, but you do have to check your provincial regulations because there could be some differences, but I'm going to give you like broad strokes on how you do it so that, it should at least give you the tools to go check it out and how to get it done. So what do you need? Well, you need a permit so that you can actually hunt, and you need a firearm or a bow and arrow or a crossbow. And some provinces have permits for even the use of crossbow for hunting or bow for hunting. So you do have to check out, like I said, see if you do need a permit for that, and sometimes they're uncontrolled. Do that course. You can check, I know that in Quebec, if you check a site called CPAC, which loosely translated is a Society and Establishment of Outdoor Activities in Quebec. And that will have all kinds of resources, like you type in basically your zip code, and it will tell you where the nearest hunting courses are, and they have to, the firearms, the PAL certification is, and you have to attend those in place because there's going to be some practical handling, and you're going to be tested on that to make sure that you're safe with that firearm, and then you can be accredited. So go do your PAL. I think it's a 2-day course maximum. That's what a PAL looks like. Okay, I'll cover up the number. That's what a PAL looks like. You don't have to get an RPAL, just get a normal PAL, and that will give you the ability to purchase and carry anything in the non-restricted category, which will cover all of your hunting implements. The other thing you're going to need is an outdoor card. Hunters courses, for the most part, used to be like attend. You had to attend them. Now a lot of them have gone to online delivery, which is great because you don't have to worry so much about scheduling. You have a certain amount of period of time in order to do that, and it's PowerPoint, it's dry, I know, I get it, but you go through it, you answer the questions properly and correctly, you score at least the minimum amount, and then eventually, at least in Quebec, you'll get sent what is called, basically the same in Ontario, an outdoors card. And the outdoors card will have the endorsements on it. For instance, it'll say, in my case, it says A and F. So I'm allowed to hunt with an arbalète or an arc, which in English is a bow or a crossbow, and F for firearms. And anyway, so I'm allowed to hunt with those. So that's pretty well the two pieces of certification that you need in order to hunt in Canada. What I will say though is it's going to take you a lot of trial and error before you get good at hunting. So the best thing you can absolutely do is go find a friend or a family member that hunts and join him on a few hunts. Even if you don't have these permits yet, you can still go with him. You can't obviously hunt, but you can go with him and you can learn about the process. And Quebec has a great like apprentice program as well for young people. So as young as 12 years old, you can actually start big game hunting with your parents as long as you're supervised, and basically they have the PAL. You've done the safety course, but you can't apply for a PAL until you're 18 years old. So that's a great thing for Quebec. Quebec is really like into the heritage of hunting, and you know, we have some of the best hunting territories in Canada, I believe. In fact, I just got back from crossbow moose season. Don't ask how it went because it didn't go well. So anyway, but there's always rifle season, which is coming up very soon. So that's all you really need. And the other thing I was going to mention about the CPAC site is this will also, like, one of the hardest things to do about for hunting is finding a territory to hunt. Yeah, you can hunt all crown land, but if it's good crown land, and especially if you're going after big game like deer, people are very territorial. They probably hunted the same areas of crown land for years, maybe their parents before them, and so on. So they're very protective of, and you have to be a good, respectful hunter too. You're not going to go out day one opening, walk through a bunch of people's stands, and you know, set up within hunting distance where somebody else has already set up a ground stand or a tree blind even. So there's such thing. You have to like give space, let people hunt their area, and that's why I say the best thing you can do is find a family member. If you can get permission to hunt on private land, that is aces right there, especially farmland. I have had deer that has been harvested from southern Ontario from like farmland, and it's just like beef. It's incredible. Compared that to when I first started hunting in New Brunswick, and it was very acidic and very strong tasting. So maybe not the best thing you want to do if you're not keen on game meat, but if you are, cool. Small game. Okay, so your partridge, your rabbits, squirrel even, all of those things, you need a small game permit. For a non-resident, it's a little bit more expensive, but for a resident, it's very cheap usually because they're trying to keep that tradition going. And all of that, if not all of it, most of that money goes back into conservation efforts, protecting habitat and wildlife. When we're talking about geese and ducks, in order to harvest geese or ducks, you have to already have your small game, and then you have to go online, buy it, and you actually buy it through a federal site. You used to be able to go into the post office and do it. Now it's online though, and you have to buy the stamp. It's a $5 or $6 stamp for the migratory game bird endorsement. Check your provincial regulations for that, because not necessarily just because there's a lot of geese in one area are you allowed to hunt that. Quebec is very tight about where you can hunt migratory game birds. So check on that. But now, my American friends out there, if you guys want to come up and hunt, it's actually way easier for you. So you need to fill out the form RCMP 5589. You pay a $25 fee, subject, and the firearm that you're bringing to hunt, if you are bringing a firearm to hunt, is subject to inspection by CBSA, and it's valid for up to 60 days. If you need more time than that, say you're a duck hunter and you're going back and forth all the time, then you can easily renew it for basically the same fee. Now, your responsibility as an American bringing a non-restricted firearm for hunting into Canada is to make sure that it adheres to our categories of non-restricted firearms. So make sure that all of the devices fall under the non-restricted category. And the reason why I say that is because there are some states where you're allowed to hunt with a suppressor, and I wish we would, but that's another topic. So you cannot hunt with a prohibited device or firearm in Canada, and visitors can absolutely not, under any circumstances, temporarily import a prohibited device. Okay, it will be seized by CVSA, and if they're really nice, they might hold it until you return to the USA, but it's more than likely going to go for destruction. And if you declared it, though, at least you won't get a fine. So make sure you tell them exactly what you're bringing up, but it's very easy. Like I said, it's the RCMP form 5589. You can find that online, fill it out, have it ready for you, and then they're just going to check to make sure it goes into the non-restricted category, overall barrel length, magazine capacity, if it's semi-automatic, and so on and so on. So that's your responsibility to make sure that works. But it's very easy for you guys, and you don't even need to do your hunting license. Now, obviously, if you're going to go back and forth all the time, it behooves you to do your PAL. A non-resident can do a PAL license, and then you don't have to pay the $25 every time, nor do you have to do the RCMP 5589 form. Because it's non-restricted and it doesn't have to be registered depending on the province that you're in. Quebec, I think, is the only province right now that has a provincial firearms registry. So, yay us. As much as we're really good into the whole tradition of hunting and protecting that heritage, we like to make things as difficult as possible, it seems like. So, could there be any other questions? I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward. People kind of, they're scared about that kind of stuff, but they want to do it. And like I said, the easiest way, find a friend. If you don't have a friend that hunts, and that could happen because you live in the city, on CPAC, you'll find groups of people even that are looking for a fourth or a sixth person, because depending on where they're hunting, especially big game and moose, for an example, where I hunt, you need 2 tags, 2 people with permits in order to take 1 animal. So sometimes they'll have somebody fall out of their group and they're looking for a replacement, and if you're keen and into it, you'll learn a lot. Man, you hang around with some of these old timers that know how to call moose in, like no digital, no electronics, anything. And I mean, it's you won't learn that from reading a book. So that's the best resource I can say is out there, is these guys that have been hunting for a while, because you don't have to learn the hard lessons day in, day out. They know what to look for. They know an area that has a higher chance of having some game on it. Excuse me, I've also got a cold, and I went to the dentist today, so it's just been a fantastic week. Anyway, I'm not going to cover like transportation of firearms and how much you can import and all that kind of stuff, because that's been covered ad nauseum, and it's all over the place out there. It's really not that complicated. Just lock it up when it's in your vehicle and you're traveling. Lock it up. Put a cable lock on it. Lock it 5 times. Lock it 6 times. Make it go overboard, and don't lock it with ammunition in it. That's about. Excuse me. So. I really, dude, guys, I love hunting. My kids love hunting. My wife loves going out for a ride. She's not so much into the hunting thing, but she will definitely walk out in the woods with me, as long as it's not too boring and I don't make her sit in one place for a long time listening to what I think I can hear. If you have any more questions, or even if you're looking for somebody, a hunting partner, drop it down in the comments where you're at, and maybe we can kind of get a little community going thing where some needs might be met by some of the people out there. They're probably not going to tell you where their best spot is, but hunters are pretty good as far as wanting to share that passion that we have for hunting. And it's amazing for me when I get to take like a new hunter, especially with my kids when they were coming up, and the first times they were going out with me, and seeing like the thrill through their eyes and experiencing that again. It's amazing, because you can never shoot another first deer or first moose or first duck, so on, so on, so on. And then there's that whole, process of like, getting it ready to actually harvest and eat. That's, it's something that you provided for yourself and your family. So that's a big deal for me. And my kids absolutely love it. And they love game meat, so that's a win-win. And so, like I said, guys, don't be afraid to get into it. I know there's a lot of people out there that really want to get into it, and they're afraid, how do I take that first step? First step is get your PAL, okay? Second step, do your hunting course. You could almost do these at the same time. It doesn't take that long to process one of these. Get your hunting course. You're good to go. Crown land is open. And it'll even identify zones. There's a lot of things, like in Quebec we have guided places, pauvreries, that if you're not experienced and you can't find somebody to share that experience with you, you can go there and they'll basically set you up in a stand. They'll set you up for a great experience. You pay a little bit more money, but you've got a better chance because these are guided outfitters. They know what they're doing, and you can learn a lot from them as well. So please click that like, subscribe, jot down the comments, guys. If you're looking to take on a newer hunter, or if you would be willing to share that experience, where you're located, and maybe we can get some kind of community exchange going, like I said, and get some more people hunting, because when I grew up, everybody hunted, and now it's like, I think it's like 10% of the youth population, maybe even in rural areas, people don't seem to be into it. So we're kind of losing that part of our heritage now, and it's sad to see that, I remember like opening day of duck season when I went to school, there'd be like 8 people sitting in the class. Everybody else was out hunting. So guys, we'll talk to you next time, and happy hunting.